And hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gay Town Hall. This is our 19th episode, which means our 20th anniversary is coming up next week. So we really hope that you guys enjoy us. I am David Quinones. I am your moderator, also known as your social butterfly for the evening. The doors are wide open and ready for you to virtually come in and be a part of the conversation. Gay Town Hall is an amazing new digital television show bringing the LGBTQ community into the debate and advertising you, with America's most diverse group of personalities from the LGBTQ community in history. Gay Town Hall is presented by Happening Out Television, because if it's happening in the LGBTQ world, it is happening out. We join the conversation alive every Thursday night at 8 p.m. as we broadcast to you on Facebook, YouTube, and coming soon, LinkedIn. Welcome to Gay Town Hall, everyone. All right, and we're back. So let's get this show on the roll. Let's please welcome our lead host. But before we do, a little bit of fun facts. His worst attribute, he thinks he's dead right. Did we mention he's probably a communist, or as he says, he's a Marxist? Please welcome Ty Hauser, host. He is a progressive college professor identifying as a communist. I didn't make the slide, so he could talk about exactly what that means. Let's please welcome to the screen Dr. Ty Hauser, everybody.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, cheers. I'm coming at you from the Four Seasons, obviously.
Which season are we in?
This is the Four Seasons in Philadelphia.
No, which one of the Four Seasons?
So I think it was pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice.
And for those of you out there who come from communist countries, I'm not that kind of communist. I'm the real kind, the Marxist one, the one where you don't need a dictator. But that's all in good fun.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where do you work? And tonight, our fun fact is, what is your favorite happy hour cocktail?
My favorite happy hour cocktail is the one in front of me right now, and it's a gin and tonic. It's my go-to, Tanqueray diet tonic. Everyone should have one. I am a professor of English and Humanities for Broward College here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I teach for our centers across the world. I've had extended stays in India, China, Bolivia, etc., where I get to work with Broward College students around the world, which is really fun.
Awesome. And obviously, to kick off the show, because we always kick off with our segment, What's on Your Mind? If you want to just share what's on your mind in 30 seconds or less, go ahead and let us know.
Absolutely frustrated with the whole COVID thing right now. I was meant to fly home to be with my family for Thanksgiving, and Pennsylvania won't let me in. So I guess it's going to be a virtual Thanksgiving this year.
All right. And we'll see what our other hosts think about that. So you ready to meet who's going to join this happy hour party with us?
Who's with us? Let's see.
All right. All right. Let's see. Up first, we have, she is a feminine lesbian with big D energy. I'll let her tell you all what that D possibly stands for. Let's please welcome Amber Taylor.
Hi, guys.
There's my girl.
How are you doing
Amber,
tonight?
how are you?
Welcome, everyone, to the show. Please don't hesitate to make a comment. I am your lesbian host with Big Dick Energy. I'm the only girl tonight. So I hope all these sausages don't overwhelm me, but I'm certainly ready to show you who's boss tonight. What's on my mind? I guess the current events. Yeah, you know, Thanksgiving, we're not able to gather as usual. That's always sad, but also we have country in transition, which is exciting, and also it's a country full of anxiety as it happens. So it's very interesting to watch. It's quite the show.
Awesome. And in honor of our boy Tao, what is your favorite happy hour cocktail of choice?
Champagne or Prosecco on ice all year round.
Ooh, lovely.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Our next host coming to the screen, he is a lawyer, he is a realtor, and he is a professional contrarian. We'll see and find out exactly what that means. Let's please welcome to the screen, Brian Pita, everybody. Hey, Brian.
There he is. Hi, Brian.
Hi. How's everyone doing?
Woohoo.
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what's on your mind today.
So I live in the far north reaches of South Florida, West Palm Beach. There I do law and real estate, as you said. I didn't realize today I was going to keep my eye on a communist, so I'll have to, make sure their time. I guess in terms of what's been on my mind, just in general, is how it doesn't feel like the holidays.
Yeah.
Like other people were saying, it's just not the holiday spirit by this time.
Aww.
Starting to get the feel of Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's just been on my mind recently, which is, usually the best part of the year for me. But other than that, that's basically it. So.
And in honor of Ty Hauser, I get a quarter for every time I say his name. What's your favorite happy hour?
So it actually used to be gin and tonic before I found out that Marxists drink it. And then I actually I really like espresso martinis. That's my
thing
for a while.
Choice. I agree. I second that. He's handsome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. And let's see who else we have coming into the room today. He is a sex-positive, leather pansexual. We all know and love him. Let's please welcome Elimination Onyx.
Woo-hoo. Hey, David. Hey, kinky humans. What's going on? I'm loving the new vibe that we got going on over here in Gay Town Hall.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do and what's on your mind today?
So I do a lot of stuff, but that might not be too rated for our TV show. So I'm just going to say that I'm living in Fort Lauderdale, as you mentioned, very sex positive, and very much into building and supporting our community. So actually what's on my mind is a plethora of things. I just start with National Education Month. Let's think about that for our teachers to celebrate them. For our trans siblings, trans awareness, trans celebration, trans resilience. For our two-spirited people, let's think about helping to make a world a better place for our siblings, because as we see, the world is ugly as tomorrow is Trans Day of Remembrance. I also like resilience, acceptance, and love. So let's take a moment to love on and reach out to our siblings.
Perfect. Thank you. And in honor of Ty, what's your favorite happy hour cocktail if you have one of choice?
Sure. So my favorite happy hour cocktail is any alcoholic beverage that's liquid. However, with the exception of gin. But if I had to narrow it down, it would definitely be any flavored vodka. Absolutely.
All right. Perfect.
I still love you, Elimination.
I love you too, baby. This means more for you to drink. That's all.
Exactly. This is a no judgment zone. All alcohol is welcome.
I love that he likes it all. I love that they're all his type. That makes me pleased to know that about him, Ty.
If Amber's happy, I'm happy, everyone. All right, up next, he identifies as a non-culture identity, and I'm curious to know what that's all about. Let's please welcome John Holt, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Holt. I live in Sawmill in Dade City, Florida, which is the largest gay campground and / member community. And my favorite drink for a Thai is a rum and Coke, actually a Bacardi Coke with a lime, which is a Cuba Libre.
Yeah,
that's
a good
favorite
one.
drink.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one. I like
that. That sounds good. I'll take one and Ty will take one. All right, up next, we have our Asian gay pop star, everyone. Let's show some love for Randy Boo.
Come on, Randy.
Come on, Randy. Come on in.
Come for me, girl. Come for me.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Randy. How's it going?
Good. I'm here in Los Angeles, just hanging out with you guys. But what's on my mind this week is when the universe is gonna send me to get me the sign to leave back to home for Christmas. Because I don't know what date I'm supposed to go back yet, so I'm just waiting for the right sign for me to head back home. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. And I think I know the answer already, but if you had a favorite happy hour cocktail choice, or if you don't, what would it be and why?
Can I just have the cock? Have the tail? Just kidding.
I think it's
I
your
don't-
milkshake, Randy. I think it's your milkshake.
That's the
No,
best
it's-
answer out of all of us.
I don't drink, so I get a virgin drink, I guess, or non-alcoholic beverage.
So, Ty, basically, he wants the cock, not the tail, a milkshake like virgins.
Somebody
Randy,
gotta take
I
the
know
tail.
I can work that into you.
And I have lots of hot
Okay.
for you. Let's be clear. You know, I'm here for it all. Let's go.
Yeah, the elimination's ready to take the tail if he has to. You're
Elimination,
so sweet,
bring the lube.
elimination.
All righty. And our next host, he is very subtle, very subdued. He is an actor, and I don't write the script, a Broadway drama queen. Let's please welcome Rossaroni Paris.
Rossaroni.
Hi, I'm Rossaroni. You're listening to NPR. No. Okay, so it says Broadway. I've never actually been on Broadway, so I don't know why.
Maybe the word off got deleted, but it sounds good. It sounds good.
It should be the word off Broadway. Hi. So what's on my mind is the projected upcoming second, third, fourth wave of Corona and the lack of toilet paper. And I'd like to take this moment to pitch my own line of toilet paper. And it's definitely not pieces of regular construction paper. It's real toilet paper. It's really useful, single use, single ply.
Oh my gosh.
Extra hemorrhoids for the family.
And is that like the extra pleated? It's pleated on both sides?
Not only is it pleated, but it comes with a little drawing and scribbles and angry, violent, angsty scribbles on it. Yeah, that's my
Lovely. And for honor of Ty, cocktail of choice for you, what would it be?
Well, Miss Thang stole my joke about the cock.
You could go for the other half of the drink.
I'll take a tail.
The
I'll take a tail. Okay. No, okay. I like the tequila and grapefruit. So far, that is my drink of choice.
Wow.
I know it's classy.
Right.
Oh my God, she's so
No, I
different.
never said it was classy. I said wow. I just said wow.
Our
There
Spanish
was no
word,
classy in there.
our Spanish word of the day is paloma. That is a paloma, right? I believe.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, grapefruit is a paloma.
Yeah.
Usually somebody tells me that, but I'm usually drinking and I don't remember the name the next day. So.
I have that same problem when I hang out in the drag.
All righty, and now we're here to welcome our special guest host for the evening. He submitted our first ever live video question of the day. He is an IT engineer, a writer, and an internet personality from Chicago, Illinois. Let's please welcome Dylan Seitz. Hey, Dylan, how's it going?
Hey, Dan.
Welcome, Dylan. Take off your pants.
I think you're
We can't
muted,
hear
Dylan.
you. We can't
Are
hear
you muted?
you.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted.
I could read your lips there.
This is like every Zoom meeting ever.
You did it on purpose.
All right, so I don't know why it muted, but can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
I got you, baby.
Yes.
You are
All right.
live.
So anyway, yeah, so I'm from Chicago, yay, Chi-Town. There isn't really too much going on, but I mean, like, much like everyone here, like, what's on my mind is, like, the pandemic and, like, how it's affecting everything. I was actually, like, talking to some of my coworkers today and just discussing, like, when we might even potentially consider going back to the office. We think it's going to be April. I think it's probably going to be sometime next year around this time. And it's just interesting to see how it's affecting so many different people in so many different ways. And it's just not exactly the most ideal time. Then again, it's never really an ideal time for a pandemic, but yeah, nothing really else going on. So Yeah. Anyway, my favorite cocktail of choice I wanted to bring up to the table is typically I like having vodka Sprite. Vodka Sprite with a little bit of lemon, sometimes lime, really depends on my mood, but usually hard liquor is the best liquor.
I can drink my liquor and get even sicker.
Liquor,
But I want to lick him.
Oh, how original.
I don't want to lick her. I want to lick him.
All righty then. So round of applause. So Ty, what do you think of all those cocktails?
I'm enjoying every one of those cocktails. I would have that cocktail with each of you.
I could see you double fisting. Totally.
Oh, I totally can double fist.
Oh, I could totally feel it.
All righty, let's start doing that. Flag and red. That's even better.
That's the show. Thank you.
My language. Yeah.
All right. Good night.
What are the colors elimination?
When you're doing a fisting, it's a little red. You know, everybody likes a little red.
It was red and brown and red and brown.
And the brown is for the stuff that comes out the booty. So yeah, you
All
got
right.
it red.
We've lost control. We've lost control. All right.
We're in the dip.
So the reason we were asking about our favorite cocktail of the day is we have something that's called the Gay Town Poll. So the Gay Town Poll is where you, America, as well as our host, get to actually participate. And it's not about just write it in the comments in the chat. It's also about letting your voice be heard. So our poll for tonight is choose your poison. What's the alcohol of choice that you like to drink? Does everyone know what the number one voted drink on in America is for the LGBTQ community?
I could guess.
Rubbing alcohol?
Vodka.
Scope.
Vodka.
Not far off.
Vodka is the number one brand that is also marketed by the vodka industry. You know, you got Stoli, you got Absolute, you got Smirnoff, and you got all other things. So our choices for tonight consist of vodka, rum, gin, tequila, bourbon whiskey, cordials and liqueurs, champagne and sparkling wine, beer, or non-alcohol free. So we're going to show the poll at the end of the night. Host, what do you think is going to win?
Vodka.
There are too many vodka queens around here. I learned to drink with the Brits, and they drink gin.
I feel like if people were smart, they drink alcohol.
Well, you know, I will say there was a time where I drank Long Island. You know, Long Island is a little mix of everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, that you can't go wrong when you do a Long Island. But, you know, as I've gotten a little seasoned, you know, that might get me in a little bit more trouble. But, you know, I'm always down for a good Long Island.
You know, I used to drink the Blue Long Islands only because it matched my outfit. I got so wasted.
Well, Mark is voting for vodka, so
yeah.
Hey, Mark.
It's got to be vodka. Yeah, it goes with everything. It goes with everything. It can soak up the taste inside of any fruit. Come on.
I agree. All right, well, let's give a round of applause, America, for what's on your mind today. Thank you so much, America. Let's move on to our first topic of the night. So our category is lifestyle and cultural. So let's bring Ty up here to the big screen. And Ty, you're going to take us to school. You're going to give us an education today. So technology, social distance, or virtual closeness. Tell us a little bit about that and what this topic is all about.
So I felt when I was doing these questions, I felt like I was writing a midterm exam for my students. So I apologize in advance to my guest hosts. But I do sometimes teach a class that's called YouTube and You, Identity in the Digital Age. And it kind of asks us to think about who we are as a virtual presence as well as an actual real life person. And one of the people I rely on is Sherry Turkle, who's a professor at MIT. And in her book, Alone Together, she discusses social media and how our increased presence in social media changes our desire for social interaction, acceptance, and identity. So when you're getting your iced latte at Starbucks, would you rather be on your phone or your laptop talking to someone else or talking to the person at the table next to you? This isn't a new phenomenon, and I frequently joke that social distancing is the best thing to come out of 2020. But assuming that we practice social distancing, how has our increased use of technology, even in this show, changed the way we interact with each other? If we're not practicing social distancing, are we having a more positive social experience? Or what has this new virtual distance or virtual closeness done to change our community?
All right, so let's put some time on the clock. Let's bring our host into the conversation. So, host, what do you guys think? Who wants to kick off?
I'll kick off real quick. I mean,
All right.
my Facebook life is far better than my real life. I'll tell you that right now.
No one uses Facebook anymore, really, and everyone's either like off Facebook and going crazy on this parlor thing, all like the like scary Republican people, and everyone's like on Instagram. It's a really interesting world, but I would much rather meet someone in person. If I'm at Starbucks waiting for my drink, I actually met one of my best friends, and now he lives on the same street as me. He's one of my gay husbands, and I would never trade him for the world. And it was because I wasn't on my phone. I mean, I will never give up the value of that. But being an outer cusp millennial, I didn't grow up with a cell phone. I had to get one a little bit later, like maybe I was a junior in high school already. I didn't grow up with a computer in the house my whole life. It was before Google. So I kind of am more aware of my real life surroundings. And I think that shouldn't be lost in all of this digital world that we have. Does that make me sound old? I mean, I'm 33. It's not like I'm, I like human connection, like physically in person.
Mm-hmm.
I understand Amber.
Crazy,
She has a good point, but at the same time, it's kind of like it helped us get through this pandemic. There's people when we were locked up at our houses and we don't have anybody to talk to. Social media was an easy access for us to stay communicated to our friends and loved ones. So I feel like it kind of brought us together in a way, but also torn our morality of being here, I guess.
After being quarantined, I forgot what it was like to be around people, and I had to get used to it again for sure.
To Randy's point, I think that when people had an opportunity to connect in various places of the country, families had more chances to connect because of the pandemic, because of social media, that would not have done it before had it not been for the pandemic. When holidays happen or parties happen, a gathering may have occurred, and if you didn't have the resources to get to that gathering, you missed out. But now we've through the pandemic and through social media, we definitely have had more opportunity to engage with each other. And I do agree with John. During this pandemic, my social life has kind of gotten a little picked up. My community activism never changed. I still let my voice be heard. Did some kind of play parties through the social media, lots of Zoom parties. Even had opportunities to dance. When those lonely nights. So it's all in what you make it. And would I love to be able to touch, feel, and caress someone? Absolutely, but not until it's safe. And so I think that right now we're doing it the right way by staying engaged with each other, because the pandemic fatigue is real, and I'm really fearful of those who truly don't have their outlet. Social abuse. Social abuse is one thing, but then for folks who are lonely are now going into drug abuse again. They're now recidivating. They're now committing crimes because they don't have another outlet, and so we got to deal with those who need it and help them.
That reminds me of when I put I had an experience in Starbucks once where I was on my phone and I decided I didn't want to look at it anymore. So I put it down and I made eye contact with this random girl. She screamed at the top of her lungs. Everybody started going bananas. They didn't know what to do. People started getting their names right on the cups. It was insane. It
was a Starbucks breakdown.
Yeah, everybody had a nervous breakdown. It was really sad and great at the same time.
But you definitely can miss your next great love if you don't look up from your phone. In that Starbucks moment, as Amber mentioned, that could be the next one, that next big thing.
Well, it could just be a great friend that you end up having for the rest of your life. I mean, you cannot take the human element out of our lives, and human-on-human contact is never going to be avoided, even in the pandemic. And I cherish it with the people that I am around, and social distancing is hard, but social media is a great outlet. I'm glad that we have this Zoom-like meeting right now. I mean, I'm thankful for it.
I think it's just the purpose on what you use.
We were using Grindr way before the pandemic, and so we've definitely moved to a social-based way of meeting people. And on Grindr, you get to know a lot about somebody very quickly. Are they a top or a bottom? What are they into? Or they have a relationship? You get to know everything about them, and it's hard to do that in a conversation with someone in Starbucks.
Do you ever go on Grindr and ask the favorite color?
I mean, it introduces a different dynamic when you talk to someone on like Grindr or like Scruff or just like any other different forms of social media, like how Parler is more along the lines for more conservatives. Grindr is more for like, hey, I'm looking to hook up tonight. And then like Scruff, I feel is like you're trying to have more of a real conversation. And then, I mean, for myself, I usually form a lot of my friendships like through Facebook, and I've met a lot of people all over the country just traveling around and just talking to people over Messenger. So, I mean, it really is dependent on like the medium that you use to contact people will fulfill whatever desire you have in terms of what platform you're on.
Wait a minute, am I
in
the
a
only
sense,
one?
isn't it that when you're putting yourself out there on a social media platform, you're creating yourself. It's not a genuine you. It's who you want people to see you to be. Right now, I'm looking directly at a green dot on my screen. I can't see any of you.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
Now I can.
So I was licking my tongue as
So
you.
how do we have legitimate personal interactions when we can't have that same degree of communication?
I think personally, I'm not someone who would ever talk to anyone in Starbucks line with or without social media. But I think that social media is dangerous from the fact that everything is lost when it's text. There's no, I mean, even in the elections, I've lost friends. They can't tell when I'm joking. They can't, it's easier to be nasty to someone online when you're not staring at them face to face, talking to them. So that personal connection is definitely, I think, contributing to a lot of the problems that we have in society right now, because everyone's just yelling at each other from across the screen. You no longer sit in a room, meet your adversary, and find out like, oh, they're actually a human being and they're a nuanced person and they have experiences, and maybe they're not an evil Nazi or a, you know, totalitarian communist or something like that.
Communist, yeah, I heard you there.
I feel like it's all on just the intention of a person and how they want to use social media. Because I feel like social media actually helped a lot of like Black Lives Matter or Brianna or these protests help spread the word because of social media. But also I can understand how people can use it as a bad thing to destroy others, which is not right. But I'm trying to look at the good side, I guess. Like the thing that's done for us.
So
I mean, it actually kind of ties into cancel culture.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has upsides and downsides. But they say what 70% or more of communication is nonverbal. So you lose a lot of that if you're not at least seeing the person and seeing their facial expressions or their hands or whatever. So you're losing a lot of communication between people. But there's upsides, like you said, you can reach more people quickly, and you can find people who think like you do very quickly, which has also got a downside, right? So that's what's happening in our culture now. You know, Democrats are finding each other, Republicans are finding each other. They're keeping themselves in a bubble, and there's no crosstalk, and there's no, way to reach across, and we're losing friends because of it.
So am I the only one who has hooked up through Facebook? You know, I guys talk about Grindr and Scruff. You know, I'm not the only one who's done that. But I also say, that when you have when people are their authentic selves in person and on social media, as Randy mentioned, you have to find those who are truly themselves versus those who I call keyboard gangsters. And there are those people who have always been who wrote those anonymous notes or those anonymous phone calls who pretended to be something in at home versus in real life. And we have to kind of weed our way to find those authentic people and build ourselves around. And then additionally, I think with the social media has the opportunity to see faces. Had it not been for this platform, I would have never met Ty. I would have never met him. I possibly never would have. I haven't met him up until this point. And I'm thankful my life has changed because of it. And so we do have an opportunity. It's all in how we use it. And if you wish to be a Facebook gangster, a keyboard gangster, as Mark called it, then, you are willing who could possibly be a friend for life, and we have to now focus on those energies in that direction. Find your pod, find your circle, and stick to those individuals and grow that, nourish that flourish friendship.
There's actually a book, and there's a professor that I like to listen to every now and then named Jonathan Haidt, and he wrote a book called Coddling of the American Mind. And one of his things that he looked at was the fact that the generation that grew up with social media, there's almost a line you can look at their year that they entered college, and their suicide rates are tremendously higher than those who didn't grow up with social media. So I think that it's affecting probably the younger people more than older folks who have the grounding outside of the social media world. There are things that, you know, I'm glad there was no record of when I was younger, like there is now, and these people are being affected by it. And older people are not equipped to teach them how to use it responsibly, and I think that it's having a negative effect on them. And I don't know how to.
Well, I don't actually think so, because I'm a mother and I have 2 children that I'm responsible for making sure that social media doesn't run their life, that they don't become depressed as a result of some sort of status of followers or something like that. I'm responsible to make sure that they have that grounding outside of the virtual world, and they have a grounding inside of the real world, doing something like a sport, a skill, an art, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Just not.
And that, Amber, that is absolutely very important. And as a parent, that's exactly what people should be doing. The issue, I think, though, is more that we put ourselves out there as this virtual presence, and the only way we feel satisfied is if we get enough likes on something, or if we get enough shares on something, and we don't have a sense of person unless it's been accepted by this virtual creation of ours.
Let's ask Dylan, our internet personality. Does it affect you getting likes, little hearts, little smiley faces? Is it the end of the world?
Dylan, I'm sending you a smiley face right now.
Or unfollow.
I'm going to unfollow you.
See, I will say this. I mean, getting attention is very nice. And that at the end of the day, I feel like that's what a lot of people that use social media for attention, for validation, some sort of like fix. Like when you get like likes on your stuff, comments on your stuff, people are giving you attention. People are catering to the side of you that you want appealed to. So I mean, for me, like I just post whatever and I'm happy with whatever. Like I don't expect anything. I don't feel entitled to anything. I'm happy when people like engage with me, because like in person it's a completely different dynamic. Like in person, like I'm a little bit more shy. Like I'm an introvert. But if like I'm online, like I'm behind a screen, so I'm a little bit more comfortable. I'm in my comfort level of like addressing people, like sending messages or like conversing with people that I otherwise wouldn't talk to at all. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you just have to look at it from that sense, where your level of comfortability stands in person and where it is online. And I feel like that's where you see a shift in terms of like how people interact with one another. Because like before this, like I wouldn't really talk to people, and social media to a degree has helped my confidence in speaking to people in person. And it's a slowly progressing thing that's helping. But I mean, it really depends. Like a lot of people, like I said, just really want attention when it comes to their social media. I mean, attention is nice, but it's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to really do all that. But I mean, it's the human side of things that you have to consider.
Sometimes it does pay your bills. Have you ever heard of OnlyFans?
I'll send you a link in a minute.
I'm just saying.
We're going to talk about that on Second, check out Amber's episode coming up in December for OnlyFans, polyamorous relationships.
No, hell no.
Like
no,
I said, I feel like
am not
it's all in the
polyamorous.
intention.
I am not polyamorous. I just want to put that out there.
I really feel like it's all in the intention of the person.
I do not define as that. I do not identify with that. So
that's
me.
All right, no worries. All right, so Ty,
next topic. I'm bored.
To kind of wrap us up on it. So.
That's an F for Amber. F for Amber.
Ooh, F for fabulous. F for fantastic.
Professor Dr. Ty Hauser, our lead host. You already gave one F out. So to summarize this topic and based on what you heard tonight, what do you think it stands out? Is it really about the social distance? What's the final answer?
So it's really interesting. From what I can tell from the group, and it might be because, I mean, we're all a little older than the students that I teach, right? But we're all aware of the need to be based in a physical reality. and that the projection of the virtual reality is something that is somewhat of a performance. The point on suicide and what's going on with younger generations is very important, because I feel that as they identify through media rather than through interpersonal relationships, they're losing a bit of their soul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, well said. So let's give a round of applause for everybody for our first topic of the evening.
Yay.
All right, the gloves came off, not too dirty, nice and clean. We got one F. I think Amber.
I don't like it.
Amber,
that was just a reaction.
Dirty.
That was just a reaction. I had to give Amber an F because she was bored.
I'm ready for it.
She is an A+ student. She is an A+ student. All right, so let's have a little bit of fun now with our next segment. If it's gay, if it's out, if it's happening, it's our happening out headlines, everybody. So this is kind of like for those who like RuPaul, the Snatch game. For those who don't like Snatch, it's the match game. And for those who like filling in the blank, that's what it is. So
I just need to note that Al is not on the show right now, and you still mentioned RuPaul.
Yes.
I like
Another
RuPaul.
F so quickly. Another F.
Hey.
Amber has the big D energy, and I just feel the big Al energy is still present in the room, so it just slipped out of my mouth.
Don't compare Al to me, please.
All right, so has everybody got a sheet of paper and a pen, a marker, something Sharpie?
I got
All
nothing.
Right. So, in honor of Ty Hauser, of course, let's play headlines. Ty Hauser just announced that he started his own 501c3 LGBTQ nonprofit charity in honor of today, which is #GiveMiamiDay. He is looking for each and every one of you for your support. Now you may ask exactly what does this nonprofit raise money for or towards? Finish today's headline. English professor Dr. Ty Hauser starts new LGBTQ nonprofit charity for #GiveMiamiDay as a way to raise donations towards blank. You can be as clean or as nasty as you want, but what do you think Ty Hauser would start a nonprofit charity for, to raise money for what?
I am finished.
Oh my.
You're
You're not supposed to show it yet, right?
No, not yet, not yet. Just raise your
Okay.
hands when you're done. Raise your hands.
I reveal too soon. That's what happens to me.
Like the Brady Bunch. Like how many kids
I'm
have
done.
their hand up?
I'm ready to show it.
She's ready to
I can't
clap.
wait to see it, Amber. I can't wait to see it.
Randy's ready to whip it out. Dylan's ready to smack the camera. Ty, are you ready also?
I'm good.
All right. So, of course, ladies first. Let's go to Amber and
Rock
see.
running? Oh, me.
I'm going to rock one into that song.
Trans awareness.
Love it.
Very nice.
Yes,
And
yes.
Why did you choose trans awareness?
Hello. We are in the midst of a murder investigation here in Miami. It's horrible. We need more, so much more coverage on this topic. I don't even get why we're not all talking about it. I can't believe it wasn't a what's on your mind topic tonight. Guys, where are we at?
All right. Well said. Well said.
There's your guilt
who wants
trip.
to
There's
go
your
next?
non-guilt trip for the day.
There we go, guys. You heard it from Amber. Who's next?
I'll go.
All right. The other girl in the room, according to Amber, Rossaroni.
I hope you don't mind. I have two. I got a little extra creative. So the first one is, since it was giving Miami, we're actually giving away Miami. We don't need it anymore. You guys can have it.
Who's giving it?
No, we don't want it. It's okay. You guys, we'll just take us all, push it away out to sea.
So
Who's we?
on Give Miami Day, he started it to give Miami away.
And another one is not really what it's for, but it's more like just my own, another charity. We can call it
We got
American
options.
Ross Blue Balls.
Lord.
Thank you.
Cute.
Oh, I hate
Mad
you so
kid.
much. I hate you
Rossaroni gets
so
2
much.
points for adding 2 colors in his description. All right. Who's next? Who's next?
I'll go.
All right. We got Mr. Holt here. So, what would he start a nonprofit, LGBTQ nonprofit for?
He has started a nonprofit he is seeking to find sugar babies, sugar puppies.
Yes, I am.
That's what he's raising money to do.
So,
Please.
for those in America that might not know the difference between a sugar baby and a sugar puppy, would you like to explain?
Well, I don't know. What is the difference between a sugar baby?
Oh
and
my
sugar puppy?
God! Elimination.
I got my own joke here.
He's on call. He's our on-call leather daddy. Go on, Elimination. Tell us the difference, please.
All right. So, Elimination, you've been called by name. Go for it.
So if you know Ty and you've ever had a conversation with Ty after a bunch of gins, then you know that Ty has this thing with the initials of P and A, and so therefore I said his charity is the throat therapy.
Now, Elimination. Not to get too crass. Do you have any recommendations on what he may do to promote throat therapy?
Well, again, I'm sure that if he looks for those with the most elongated necklines, those who can speak very well with their browns and their cows, they form their lips very well. If he angles his eyes in that direction, I'm sure he'll find a bunch of people that he can kind of utilize that skill.
Are you saying he'd have to be very oral about it?
He would have to be oral about it. He wants a lot of wet bites and things that little nibble here and there. And as you said, cut the tip off and just put the tip in. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
So I think I said he loves to give an oral examination. I think Elimination gets an A on that one. And Paulo is all about throat therapy. Absolutely.
All right, wonderful.
Who's
Throat
next?
therapy for everyone, free and
Lord.
on every corner. Okay.
All right,
I guess I'll go.
All right, Randy. What is he gonna start a nonprofit for?
A 9-inch Twix.
Lord.
Now, can you
So does that tie into throat therapy?
now we don't want
I guess it plays the part with it.
Oh my God.
we don't want to have to do a recount, but can you define why the 9? Why is the 9 so important?
Because you've never seen a 9-inch Twix. They're always only what, two inches? Imagine
You
the
guys
big
are so
chocolate
gay.
one.
You are so gay.
But remember, Twix come in
Is it my
packages
glasses?
too. Twix come in packages too. So if we take Randy's nonprofit and Elimination's nonprofit together, I think we got something good going on.
Representation matters.
Representation does matter.
It does.
Brian.
It does matter.
It does.
So I had to do this. I'm sorry. You're raising money for your bread lines.
Oh.
And not just any bread lines, garlic bread lines.
I'm in front row. Oh my God.
The only bread I want is from Olive Garden. Them breadsticks.
Oh, the skinny dick breadsticks. Oh.
Now is that
That's
Those are
pretty
so
damn good.
good. Oh
I
my God.
appreciate the
fine.
joke,
Those are
Brian. I
fire.
appreciate
I'm
the joke.
Brian, are you willing to make that bread with your 2 hands and bring it over to Ty?
I've got something for you to need, Brian.
Someone else is going to make the bread for me, and I'm just going to take it.
All right, you heard it, Ty. He's just going to take it. And
Yeah.
last but not least, I believe we got Dylan, our guest host.
Hey.
So, our nonprofit
I chose is more on a serious note, so I did suicide awareness.
Oh,
Very nice. And why
very good.
do you feel that was important to share today?
So I thought, because of, like, everything going on in the world right now, and like how it's like the season, or we're changing from summer to fall, or actually already in fall. Like, people are getting seasonal affective depression, and just everything going on in the world. Like, I feel like that's definitely something to raise money for, to help people, and that's the reason I chose it.
Very nice.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah.
All right, so last but not least, lead host, Ty. So just to repeat for the children at home, Ty Hauser starts new LGBTQ nonprofit charity for #GiveMiami Day today as a way to raise donations towards what?
Well, I'm going to evaluate the answers that were given. Elimination gets points for pointing out my Prince Albert because I haven't actually made that public, but okay.
He wants to point it out again. Everyone know that he has the Prince Albert, please.
In a very
I did not know, so that's America.
Noted, double noted.
In a very serious and important way. Dylan gets it with suicide awareness. I have a cousin who committed suicide. She was 18 years old about 3 years ago. And it is something that we all need to talk about and know about and think about. So yeah, Dylan, thanks. That was the right answer.
All right, Dylan. Good job. Very, very well done, Dylan. And because it is
oh no.
What is that?
I have no idea.
You did that.
My ears got tickled.
Houston, we have a
They're
problem.
coming for me.
Houston, we have a problem. And Ty, just because it is in honor of Give
Hey,
My
John,
Ass
do you
Day.
feel that? John, do you feel that?
Not yet. I don't
I
feel
want to see your
anything.
face, John.
I don't feel anything.
All right, so Ty, in honor of Give Miami Day today, if you had to actually give a shout out to a charity that people should go out and actually donate to, what would the charity be and why?
I'm giving my charity to Dolly Parton because she solved the coronavirus problem and didn't tell anyone.
All right, America. So you have about 3 hours left to donate to Give Miami. Please find the Dolly Parton Foundation, whatever it may be called. And as long as it's based out of Miami, and Miami will match dollar for dollar for you today. All right, so round of applause, everybody.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to give a for real answer.
Oh, if you would like to,
Are you not starting up for real charity?
A real
Down,
charity.
honey.
Oh no,
Put
I
the
didn't know I was
put the
supposed to give a
gin
for real
down.
answer. Well, I'll say, well, they're not. I don't think they're based in Fort Lauderdale, but Flockfest is a great organization that raises money for other organizations. So if you want
it's
to,
true. Flockfest is absolutely an
they're
amazing
fantastic.
event. Yeah.
So if you really want to give Miami, Flockfest is where it's at.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much. And actually, we had a representative from Flockfest on last night, so they are an amazing organization. So if you are listening tonight, Flockfest or Give Miami, please make a donation today to the Miami Foundation for Give Miami Day, and they will happily take it. And the social media is going wild and crazy about your Prince Albert tie.
Wow.
Oh
And
my
all I
God.
said was
I hope my
P&A.
mother's not watching.
Let me
I
just
just said
reinforce
P&A,
for
you put
everyone
it out
watching,
there.
if we have a Prince Albert on the cast, it is Dr. Ty Hauser.
Yeah,
Everyone
really.
know
Elimination, can you feel it?
No.
we don't do that.
No.
We ain't about that life.
All righty, so now let's move on to our next segment. So Dylan was from last week. Let's move to this week's Alive question of the day. So Ty is not aware of what this question is. It comes from a viewer, which Ty may or may not have met already and possibly knows me very well. So let's see what he has to say about our Alive question of the day. And here we go.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Hidalgo and I'm an engineer who is part of the Miami chapter of the Global Shapers. The Global Shapers is an initiative of the World Economic Forum that develops young leaders to tackle local challenges around sustainability, civics, and mental health. I've also recently started a master's degree in public policy analysis, and so the following question is also very personal to me. My question is for Professor Ty Hauser. As a higher education professor, what do you think the long-term effects of this pandemic will be on education? And what lessons have we learned around remote versus in-person teaching in this time? How do you think the new administration is going to use these lessons to inform potential education reform? Thank you.
Wow, what a heavy question. I love it.
And for those who don't know who that is, let's see, Ty. So that question is deep. It's philosophical. I told him you were a professor, and he's like, ran with it. So let's see.
This is a fantastic question. There are so many aspects of this question that are important. First of all, pointing to the global and the local is absolutely important because the global and the local exist and this is a philosophical term, a hermeneutic relationship. So what happens globally affects what we do locally. What happens locally affects what we do globally. And that's a constant back and forth. And that's very, very important. So our decisions that we make at home about this pandemic affect what we do in the world with this pandemic. And what happens in the world with this pandemic affect what we do at home in this pandemic. And education is a really, really, really good point to make on this, because what has happened in the last 8 months is that the traditional and the kind of I'll go with traditional. The traditional universities and colleges have been forced into the 21st century, and they've been forced to say, hey, what we've been doing for the last 200 years or 100 years is not working for today's people, and it's not working for today's students. And what we can do, if we're forced to, is create a system in which education becomes accessible, and education becomes interesting, and education becomes available to people across the world, because we were forced to put it on this. We were forced to do this. And that is the future of education forced on us by the pandemic. It was the future of education 10 years ago, but it was forced on us by the pandemic. And that's where we're moving in the future. That's a fantastic question.
All right. So Juan Hidalgo, you heard it from Dr. Ty Hauser. Just really quick, because I know we spent a little extra time on the last topic. Anyone have any other quick points they would like to add to that?
I think that Ty hit it right on the nose, and I'm loving this topic because it goes into the big D. But I think that what we need to realize is that we should all have always been doing classrooms without walls, because imagine having a child in Maryland, in Baltimore, where I'm from, where I was a teacher, where I taught in a classroom that had no air conditioning, no heat. But imagine that young student being taught by someone in China about financial or about just something out of their norm that they would have never been accustomed to. Imagine having that kind of instruction 10 years ago. And we can do that today, and we now need to expand more, because we have an opportunity to bring on education on so many levels and so many spectrums to our kids. But what's holding us up is lines and abilities, and not wanting to give everyone equal opportunity. Meaning that there are children today who have to learn remotely, but don't have access to good internet or have to share a laptop. America, what's wrong? The children that we create today, that we educate today, are going to be our future leaders tomorrow. How can we expect them to lead if we're not providing appropriate education?
I want to go back elimination. There was a comment from Richard that said something like, "I miss science lab." Science lab is right outside the door.
Absolutely,
right outside the door.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in a classroom to do those things. You might need certain materials.
Bunsen burner.
So there's a free education
I need that.
called Khan Academy, and what they say they want to do is world-class education for anyone, anywhere. And they've been working on this for years, and they already cover from elementary school all the way up to college. And so this is the way of education. And a lot of our learning online may not replace some of the things that you want to do in a group, like group projects, but it can replace a lot of education and get people educated faster to where they need to be. And they don't have to wait for everyone else in the class to come along. They can go at their own pace.
John, your point is well taken, but I think there's also something very important to add to this, which is some of the best learning takes place after class, at the bar, and in the coffee shop. There is a social aspect to learning that we still haven't quite figured out with online education. And to Giovanni's point, I don't know what to do with people who can't read an analog clock.
But you know, there's a certain
that's
level
not
of,
happening. I can tell you that's not happening with children of today. They know how to read analog clocks. Like they know how to read more than just analog.
That's an actual thing, though.
They know how to code. They know how to do all kinds of stuff we didn't know how to do.
But the practicum comes when you leave out the classroom. So imagine that science classroom, that science instruction that you talk about, where you talk about go find a leaf, analyze that leaf, and talk to me about what that looks like. Now you're having that child not only touch the leaf, they're now exploring the leaf. They're now utilizing that leaf as now a lifeline. Now you can take that leaf and compare it to a skeleton, a human body. You now combined what a child can find outside into your right in front of in your home, and now broaden that conversation.
Well,
I don't know what that was.
adult,
But you had that so many opportunities.
Education. I train myself online all the time. I learn all the time on YouTube. There is a plethora of experts and trainers out on YouTube to learn anything. And so even for adults right now, education is available because of online.
Education
I'm gonna hold on just 1 second though. Hold on just 1 second.
But
information is available. Education is not necessarily available.
Not always.
And there's a difference there.
That's a good point. All right, well, let's keep it moving along, because otherwise we'll be on this all the time. Thank you, Juan Hidalgo, for your question to Dr.
Thank you, Juan. That was a great question.
Created some good questions. So let's hop into our LGBT topic of the week, number 2. The category is business and political, gay, safe, and straight spaces. So Ty, tell us a little bit about our topic number 2.
So I like to think about space, and I like to think about who occupies space and who claims space and who knows space. So the Parliament House is closed. Other gay bars are closing, going out of business. In Soho, there are very few gay bars anymore. The Trumpsters invaded Wilton Manors, and they essentially violated our safe space. Also, I was recently at a gay bar, and a straight woman flashed her tits at me with her husband right next to her, which, I mean, whatever, I don't care. But what does that mean? Do we need to have gay space? Do we need to have straight space? How much of our gay space allows us to be who we are? And if we want acceptance, and if we want approval from the dominant community, what does that balance look like? How much of our LGBTQ identity is defined by our own space and why it's important or not important? And how many straight people are too many straight people in a queer space?
All right, so the gloves have come off before Dr. Ty gives his opinion at the end. A Rassaroni with a very strong wrist. Take us away.
It's actually this is the strong wrist.
We'll be here all night, folks. All night.
It depends on what you're looking for. So if you're going to the club to go meet somebody, then I feel like it's more of a convenience thing, because if you go to a straight club, chances are of you finding another gay are a little bit more slim. In my experience, because it's mostly about guys trying to find the girl with the shortest skirt. And you can't, I've never really had a lot of fun at straight bars, but if you're going just for fun, then go to straight bars. So I feel like be accepting, but also if you're a straight person going to a bar that's primarily gay, respect the space, respect that you're not the number one demographic.
So Paolo's point that was just put up there is absolutely where I was going with this question. Every space is a straight space until it becomes a gay space. Once we have established that gay space, what do we want to do with it?
Well, I mean, so I can talk about Sawmill. Sawmill's a membership only, and it's a gay space. People live there, they retire there, and it's also a campground where people come in for the weekends, and we have a lot of nightlife. So it's very much a gay space, and it's thriving. And I wonder often if it's thriving because it's older people who are used to bars and things like that, as opposed to younger people who are the ones who are moving away from that, and they're doing a lot of their meeting online. And so when they go to the bars, they're not necessarily looking for a gay space. I wonder if it's age.
Gay spaces are incredibly valuable. We have to stamp out these gay spaces, and as many straight people can be there as they want. I mean, they can But they're gonna know, look, it's a gay space. There's gonna be some
Mm-hmm.
gay shit going on in here. If you're not cool with that, then go to a straight bar. I mean, I see straight hetero love all the time everywhere I go. So I mean, if they want to come to our gay bars, I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, of course we need a gay meeting space to meet other gay people.
But we also need to ensure that we support those gay spaces. I mean, here's if the pandemic,
Totally.
The pandemic, we're doing what it does, but let's look out without the pandemic. How many spaces have we lost because gay folks are finicky, or they only support their friends, or they only support this one promoter versus that? And so we, as a community, we have to support each other, and we have to support our gay spaces, meaning that we have to give them our money, and then they need to market to our community as a whole, and not leave out parts of the community, because when you segment parts of the community, then you now segment the amount of money and the amount of people that come in. And so when straight people do come in, as well meant, they do need to understand the demographics, but at the same time, if we don't protect our own, and if we don't support our own and fill those bars and spend that money, then we are going to lose them, because they can't afford to make the rent. And so I think that's the question that we need to ask: why are we losing so many spaces pre-pandemic? Because we were losing spaces pre-pandemic.
That's true. I mean, the trend was queer spaces or LGBT spaces were like slowly falling in behind and like not being able to support themselves. And I think one of the things we need to consider here is like LGBT spaces are marginalized, and they don't have as much of a reach as like straight spaces. And with the pandemic, it certainly hasn't helped keep any businesses open. And as the pandemic continues, more and more bars and spaces for the LGBT community are disappearing. And I've noticed that here in Chicago and Boys Town, one by one, they're slowly going away. So it's important more than ever to try to retain what gay spaces are left. And I mean, basically, you should always do the research on what bar you go to, like talk to the locals and see what you're comfortable with. But I mean, when it comes down to it, like the gay spaces that are currently out the door, they're struggling right now, and it's a struggle for everyone. I mean, regardless if you're gay, straight, whatever.
How many straight bars have been left to pick up the pieces after the pandemic as well? It's not just gay bars that have suffered. It's all bars of all kinds, all gathering spaces.
But it's not just the pandemic. This is a trend that has been happening for years. I mean, it's not just new.
Yeah,
good gay bars.
I think social media is what is affecting it. I mean, back in my day, we went to the bars to meet other gay people because we didn't know where else to meet them. Now with social media, you can get on Grindr, you can get on anything. You can meet gay people. You don't need to go to a bar. Why drink? Why go to a bar? And if you could go to a straight bar that offers better music or a better nightclub, then you go there, because most gays are accepted now. So that's why we're losing the bars, is because social media has taken the need for them away.
It's not
well,
just
maybe we're losing them now because of the pandemic, but I mean, I feel like in the future there will be more places and spots that are going to open up as a gay place, because as a gay community, we all look for a place where we want to feel comfortable at. Because I've been to a straight club and sometimes I didn't feel comfortable because I felt like I was different. Didn't belong there.
Plus, you wanted to cruise men, and other men that are gay want to cruise men too. So out of a need, that will be created in our neighborhood or community where there's enough gay people.
Well, it's not just the cruising though. It's not just the cruising, and this is why. Because like I like to go to, like, if I'm going to a club, sometimes I go with my best friend, and she's a woman. She's a straight woman, so she likes to go to the straight bars. It makes sense, you know. But we just go there sometimes just to dance, and so to be able to express yourself in a straight space is very difficult for me, because it's usually some bouncer come over and tell me to stop dancing, and like I'm not like taking my clothes off. I'm not walking around with my ass hanging out.
Well, no, your clothes are already off. Your ass is already out.
I'm curious.
It's like we need a place for us to be ourselves.
For Amber and Randy. Randy, since you've been on both coasts, do you feel there's a big difference in the spaces on West Coast versus East Coast? And for Amber, as a woman, do you feel the experience is different as a woman going to a club, whether straight or gay, versus a man? Because I've heard that women tend to feel more comfortable than gay men going to a straight club. So I wanted to hear from the both of you on that.
I mean, working in lots of gay clubs, East and West, I've always met straight people there and having fun partying with their friends. vice versa in the gay, in a straight club. And it's just, I think I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, if there is too much straight people, because there's a bar here, I don't know if you guys have been to Abby's in West Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah, that place, there's a lot of straight people that goes there to check out the dancers, to find, but it's also gay. So it's like mingled with mix of both. It's not just one or more or the other. It's like, hey, it's both. Everybody can feel welcome. So it's kind of like, it shouldn't be a big difference. I don't see why not. As long as they respect each other.
It shouldn't be, but also consider the fact of the geography of the Los Angeles area. I mean, on the West Coast, things are a little bit more spaced out, opposed to like something in New York City where you only have to maybe go like a block or two to go to another like queer LGBT bar. And like in Chicago, here in Boys Town, like you can literally go from one building to the next to the next. So I think people really have to determine like, hey, I want to go here for this kind of time. And some places are more like unifying of like straight and gay people in one setting, because that's all that there is in that setting, like, or in that general area, that one bar. So it really is dependent on that. So that's something to also consider when thinking about that.
Because if I really want to cruise and get laid, I will go to a bathhouse.
But Amber didn't speak.
There's always a bathhouse.
There's no straight people there.
If you don't hear anything for the rest of the night, remember there's always the bathhouse.
That was last week.
Middle of COVID, no biggie.
Where's your
Go to the bathhouse.
Right.
So Amber, as a woman, what's your take on, between going to a gay bar, a lesbian bar, a straight bar? Is it, you feel a different experience for you versus gay men where they feel like we have to go to a gay bar because that's where we feel comfortable?
So I live a very gay-centric lifestyle. Every bar I go to is a gay bar. Everyone I know is gay. Everyone around is gay. And when I go to a straight place, I feel like a fish out of water. Honestly, I don't want to make out with my girlfriend in front of a bunch of frat boys hanging out at the bar. It's not that comfortable for me. But I don't mind if they come into my gay bar. So that's the difference, I think. I'm not going to go into their bar probably, but if they come into mine, they know they know it's going to be gay.
And that goes back around to the original, the very first comment, which is space is basically straight to begin with. And if we manage to carve out something that is not straight, then the respect needs to be there to have that not straight space. But Amber, what's really interesting to me is the first time I met you in person, I was with friends of mine who are like your biggest fangirls ever.
Hi, boys. Hi.
All they wanted to do was meet you. We talked about you all night long. But we sat there, and at one point we looked at each other and we're like, wait, hold on. We're the only 3 dudes in the room. We should probably leave.
Yes, that was a lesbian gathering place. That was kind of an unofficial lesbian gathering place. It's like we're baby turtles towards the sun. We know exactly where to go to find one another. But as long as I'm in Wilton Manors, I know that my people are there, and everyone knows me. No one asks me when I'm having a drink. Everyone just brings me my drink. It's where I want to be.
Humble brag.
Where I want to be.
By the way,
I know one point. I do feel the same way when I go to a lesbian bar sometimes, though. They party and they get aggressive. I felt like I was out of place, even though it was a gay bar.
They do, and they ask why you're there. I don't agree with that.
Right, they do.
They're
like,
I welcome the G, but not all lesbians welcome the G, and that is so stupid to me. But listen, all men don't like lesbians, and that's and that it's fine. But it's so weird. True. I'm like, come on, guys.
And that's why we need to have a space. We need spaces for humans to be humans and allow that part. Because again, when we start segregating into this is only a lesbian bar, and then the lesbian may not have the support or may not come out as often as the gay guys do, then we lose that space. Or that's we only have this one night for this one particular group of people, and therefore when you go, you don't feel comfortable because the music may not be what you like, or that you're not getting serviced or whatever. And until we build safe space for everyone, then we can to Ty's point, make sure that those who come in protect our space. But if you don't feel comfortable in that space, although you're gay, then how do you act? How do you know you can find the next spot until you find a spot that you call home? Right. And now you've lost 3 or 4 opportunities to spend your dollar. And I think that's the issue.
So I think, and let me just, if I can, just sum this up and we can move on to the next topic. But I think that we all see the value in having our gay spaces, and we also all know the importance of having those spaces being accepted. And I hope that moving forward, we can find a way for us to support our colleagues, our friends, our fellow LGBTQ people in those spaces. And I don't want to get stuck on bars, because space is not just about bars.
Correct. Yeah,
that's a very, very important. Bars are easy to use as examples, but it's very important to know that Wilton Manors is a gay space, and those of us who live here feel very comfortable here. Someone living in Iowa doesn't have that pleasure. So that gay bar is very important to that person in Iowa.
Yeah, we have to be aware of the gay bubble that some of us are in some of the cities that we get to live in, because being a realtor, I move people from outside of this state and outside of this very gay-centric city all the time. And they have maybe been in a lifestyle or a life that they haven't been able to express their true self ever. And they're in their 50s at this point, some of them retiring and wanting to move to Florida to finally be their true self.
All right, well said. So great chat about topic number 2. Round of applause for our LGBT topic of the 2. And if you are in Wilton Manors, Amber will be expecting a champagne as she walks through the door of her favorite.
She'll get Prosecco from me. She'll get Prosecco from me.
Perfect. They already know, though. You don't have to.
All right. So I'm sure Amber's answer is yes. Who likes the big D?
Yay.
Yeah.
No, that's Ty. Ty is more like yes.
I like the big D. Dylan's name starts with a D.
Girl, Amber, we need a drink together.
I am all over you tonight.
I like moderately sized Ds, but that's just me.
Dylan, tell me.
It's not about the size of the D, it's where you use it in the discussion or the debate, which brings us to our next segment, the Big D. All right, Big D. All right, so Big D tonight, we got a special treat. Last week was Power Infinity versus our gay guru, Al Ferguson. Tonight we have Dr. Ty Hauser, and he's going to be up against our sex positive elimination in the Big D. And our topic for tonight is education, free for all or free for some. If you could tell us a little bit about this topic really quick, Ty, and then we're going to jump right into it. We're going to clear the room. So, Ty, you want to say a few words about it?
So I'll just a couple of words. It's in the public debate right now whether or not education should be free through the associate's degree, through the bachelor's degree. How much debt people are in is very important, and what education is valued at. So where do we go? What do we do? And how do we move forward with education?
All right, America, you host. So let me go ahead and clear the room. And let's welcome elimination. Everyone's going to get a drink at the bar, in the virtual bar.
Ooh, that I kind of felt that boom right there, Ty.
All right, so elimination. You guys are gonna have, if you need the full 5 minutes, take it. If not, because we're running a little over on time. So the Big D tonight is education, free for all or free for some, and who gets priority. And go.
Well, I think that, as Ty mentioned earlier, I think we agree a lot on this. And as educators, we know that education is important. And so when I saw the topic, I kind of wanted to take it a step back to your last point, that we have to make education equal across the board, because if we do not make equal education across the board, when folks do get to those associates and do get to those bachelors, because they're often told that's your saving grace to success, that's your saving grace out of the ghetto or out of this. But unfortunately, we're not preparing everyone for that opportunity. People are not often getting prepared for ACTs or SAT preps. They don't have that opportunity. And until we make that equal, to your point of everyone having the same and making AAs free and education free, because No Child Left Behind should mean no child and not just those who have the good textbooks, the good internet, and those good opportunities.
Yeah. So my position on this is kind of that what the elementary schools and high schools were meant to do in the agrarian age are much different from what they're meant to do today. Mm-hmm. And we invested in those institutions back in the agrarian age because we thought it was important to have an educated populace. And then come around the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution, we said, hey, let's have land grant institutions mm-hmm. to allow people to learn about animal husbandry, agriculture, technical skills. And those land grant institutions have come to become these great universities. I went to one of them, Penn State. So Penn State left its mission as the farmers' college, and it has become this university. I'm going to layer that by saying that high schools are being asked to do things that they should never be asked to do. High schools are being asked to teach people how to just be basic human beings.
Correct.
And that's something that they should have learned a long time ago. So if we do value education, and I think we do, because democracy relies on an educated populace, then what we need to do, and if we can afford a war, we can afford to educate our people.
Yes.
We need to at least allow for an associate's degree to be a free qualification, because that gives us, and it essentially redefines what the land grant institutions were supposed to do, right? So it's training in technical and
yes.
and educational and physical and all those skills-based things that we absolutely have to have. When we get to a bachelor's degree, now we're talking about something a little different. And we've overemphasized the bachelor's degree because we think that that's the new high school degree. And I'll tell you right now, the high school students that I'm teaching, they're not ready for a bachelor's degree, but they're going to get one.
And so I think that, to your point, very well said, because what you mentioned about what's happening in high school, it's unfortunate, but we have to now take a step back to realize, well, why is it happening in high school? And it's because we have done our elementary and our middle school educators such a disservice. They don't have the proper equipment, or they're now trying to, again, teach to a test. And then now they're teaching to a test, so now the fundamentals are lost. And then, as you mentioned to your kids who are in bachelor's, that bachelorette program, they're getting pushed. So is the elementary students. They're now getting pushed. And then when they get to that middle school, they're now recouping those skills. And so our children are constantly falling behind and facing behind. And to your point about those AAs and those other opportunities, imagine what could happen if we now teach those elementary students about other skills such as money early by a banker. And again, this is why technology is so important, because what would it look like if we had a banker come virtually tell a student what about money and the power of money? They now see it's a banker, not my teacher. It's someone who's professional, someone who's surviving. They now changes their frame of thought. Additionally, now we got to go back to even about the colleges and what's accessible to children and what does education look like for everyone, because it doesn't. It looks very different. And then when you get to those high schools, you're now fighting the thing. But if you do those AA degrees to make at least a good starting point for all, and then giving everyone an opportunity to education there.
And I see David, I see we're coming back in, but if I can just make one final point.
Sure.
If the land grant institutions were meant to be technical schools, which they were, then the community colleges as technical schools should be doing that same job for the same purpose. And that's what elevates us to be an educated democracy.
Well, how about building some of those skills into high school curriculum? So therefore, those children are getting computer database skills or farming skills in high school. And then they're now taking that knowledge and then taking it to that next level, that 2 years. They're now taking it to the 4 because they've already been pre-exposed, predetermined to they found their passion, and now it's a matter of laying on those layers versus waiting to the last minute to identify who they are, because they've never been exposed to anything. And that's again how education has done.
To Richard Sand's last point, we can't depend, and this is what has happened with education. We can't depend on parents teaching their children what we might think of as basic education, because basic education is like common sense. It doesn't exist.
That's I don't agree with that.
Not have the same basic education. You can't do that, because not every parent has had the same basic education. Some parents are more well educated than others, and then their children are all in the same pool together. So what we have to do is take out those biases and say, well, what's common and what is, and say, what does every child need to learn, and how can we help them get that point, and make it easier for the parent who did not graduate or who may not have been successful in school, help their child to be successful. That's what we need to do.
All right, so America, the big D got bigger over the 5 minutes. So we're going to go
engorged.
Hey, we got all this energy. Hey.
So really quick, you guys are going to vote. It wasn't necessarily a disagreement, but who would you vote for really won that discussion, or who would you put as your next school board superintendent for the education system? Is it going to be tie or elimination? Ladies first. Amber, who do you vote for?
I think elimination, because Ty's not going to hold the parents accountable to anything, and he's going to make the teachers teach the kids how to wipe their ass when parents should be the ones doing that.
No, that's not what I meant to say at all.
Amber has spoken. Brian, who do you vote for? Tie or elimination? Who won that discussion or debate?
Tie.
Thanks a lot.
Short and sweet. All right, Dylan.
I'm also in agreement. I think that Ty won that debate in terms of the points that he brought up. So yeah, he got my vote.
All right, John, who do you want to see in that super board of attenders for the education system? Elimination.
Okay, I don't think either of them won. They missed the major points of allowing students to move up by skill mastery and to separate credentialing from universities. That's
absolutely a very important point.
People are paying for credentials, not education.
Totally.
That's a very important point.
So neither of them won.
So John abstains. Russell-Roney?
Is there a third party option?
John Holt is your third party Green Party.
John Holt, you won the argument.
John Holt won.
Wait, didn't Ross do that last week?
Yeah, he does it every week.
Hey, be quiet.
Randy.
Or since whatever John said, it made sense. I kind of have to go with in between, I guess.
Wow! Wait, America, did the Green Party win?
Well, it was a point we didn't actually talk about.
You won the debate, and you were.
Hello, of course it should be allocated to a skill level. All the kids that could be doctors should get free education to be a doctor. All the children that could become a brain surgeon, for fuck's sake, send them to school so that they can be that for us.
But expose them, let them know that the opportunity is available to them. We're not doing that.
That's great. Thank you all. That was great.
All right, that was a great big D, everybody. Great job for elimination and tie, and for our third party, John Holt, for jumping in the ring.
Nice
all
work,
right, really quick, we are gonna go on. So we have our little bell here. We're gonna make real good use of this. When that bell rings, that's it. Kaputs, we're stopping the conversation. All right, so our next round, we're gonna give it a try. We didn't get to do it last week. Is Saved by the Bell. So the way that this works is I'm going to present a headline. You guys will have 60 to 90 seconds total before I ring the bell. Anybody can jump in at any time. It could be chaos, as crazy as you want. We do it on It's Happening Now. We've been doing it for 2 years. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So are you guys ready?
Wait, what are we doing?
We're doing Saved by the Bell. Whoever has an opinion, a comment, a funny, maybe just one more sentence, add it to the thing. So let's start with Saved by the Bell number 1. Reddit claimed winners Vogue edit 2020 crowned queens. Why POC representation matters.
That cover was amazing.
They look fierce.
That cover was so amazing. The power, the imagery, the beauty that represented that cover.
Yeah, but it was fake.
So for those who don't know, and we actually found out, that was an edited cover designed in a contest. So it's actually not a Vogue cover. It was what they would have wanted the cover to be if it actually existed.
So give me Harry Styles in a dress and I'll be fine.
But the reason why POC representation matters is because there's
It
a young
doesn't
girl
exist.
out there who
So they had
needs
to fake
to
it.
see an example that looks like her. Obviously. Obviously, that's why it matters. Come on.
Do we all support magazines?
Psych.
I think it's an amazing cover, but I couldn't believe that when I actually found out it was fake. It looks
You
like
sure it's not a filter? Maybe you could just use it as a filter.
It's beautiful.
Any other comments?
I love purple.
Any other comments about that? All the Queens winners from RuPaul's Drag Race and from the Dragula.
Wait, how? I do have one
Dragula,
actually.
I love.
Just out of curiosity, how? And this is just coming from my own experience, just picking up at the last minute this year, going over certain drag queen stuff. Aren't most of the winners people of color? How are they not represented? The first winner was a black.
This is the cover of Vogue. Black, gay people are leaders in fashion. And
I see what you mean. I'm sorry. I
But it's not a
and they
real
build our
cover.
couture before our couture hits the runway, and their couture is theirs before it becomes everyone else's.
It's
see
an
what you
art.
mean.
It's
Alright.
an art piece. It's not for real. It's an
Yeah.
art piece.
It's not
And
a
they're
real-
making a comment.
And
Right.
no, the numbers of black
it could
women
be.
winners versus
All
white
right,
winners are
now,
not equal.
They could be on Vogue because they're
I-
the creators.
I'm sorry. I
Comment
thought
number
you were just
2.
talking in general regarding drag queens. I didn't know you.
All right, no worries, no worries. So, Saved by the Bell number 2, ABC News claimed LGBTQ candidates made gains in state legislators, including a transgendered woman.
This is why it's important to vote up and down the ticket.
Absolutely.
Woohoo!
And supporting your community.
LGBTQ wave. I love it.
Love it. If they're qualified, let them be in office.
Absolutely. And why we should now be finding the next group of wonderful leaders to step up for the next ticket. We need to groom our leaders now and support our community and find those people who are willing to step up and support them for the next ticket. Governor needs to go. Senators need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments? 5 seconds left.
3, 2,
And-
1, no.
Funny.
What do you think for this one?
All right. On to our next topic. Saved by the Bell, topic number 3. The New York Times. What happens to some LGBTQ teens when their parents reject them?
They explode.
I read
No
the-
way.
It both literally and figuratively. You're right, Ross. You're right.
No, high rate of homelessness,
They
sexual
end up on the street.
exploitation,
They end up in
victimization.
juvenile homes. They end
Yeah.
up in crime. They end up in prison.
They
It's
can
a
end up
horrible,
dead.
horrible
They can end
thing.
up being murdered.
They end
Yeah,
up
or
in
suicide.
becoming
Thank you,
Or it made them
Christianity
stronger. Or it made
for
them work for
pushing
themselves.
gays out of their house.
This is why Lady Diana and Maud, what's her name? B. Arthur are so important because they saw in the very beginning of this a need to donate and to give and to support LGBTQ youth, and they both have foundations that support and work to help.
How is it that a parent who supposedly naturally loves a child can kick them out of the house because they're gay? How is
I
that
can't
possible?
imagine
It's
it.
the religion.
Personally,
That's
as
not a
a
real
parent, I
parent.
cannot imagine it.
Yeah.
I
Call me
cannot
John, I'll
imagine it.
explain
Like
it to you.
Don't hurt. Like that's not a real parent to me.
It's a sickness of the ego where you feel like your child doesn't represent you enough, and you have to somehow count them out of your life for some dumb reason. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore, particularly for our transgender youth that are coming out
definitely.
more and more, and they need a safe space, a safe place to fall, and that needs to be with their parents.
All right. on
And if
to
it's
Saved
not
by
with their
the Bell,
parents, we
topic
need to be
number
there for
4.
them.
Totally.
Number 4 from NBC News. LGBTQ people of color keep breaking election barriers, and it feels amazing.
Yes, we're happy. We're happy.
Yes.
We're amazed.
Yes,
I mean,
LGBTQ.
Kamala. Can I say
We're gay.
Kamala too? Kamala
Yeah.
Harris, woman
You
of
cannot
color.
say her name
I'm just
enough.
happy to have a woman in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it just
awesome.
makes me happy. Yes.
And recognizing that Stacey Abrams worked hard to encourage others, she went out there in the communities, and although she could have took her and left, she made sure that Atlanta would continue to stand strong, and people got out and vote. So yes,
And they sure did
kudos.
come out. They sure did
Kudos.
come out too.
And hopefully in January 5th, they will continue when they do that runoff for those senator seats, that they will continue to do that. We got to support, we got to have our vote.
And I
Well-
hope that some people change their minds.
Yep. So
Mhm,
AP came out an hour ago and said Joe Biden's the winner of Georgia. So thank you, Stacey Abrams.
Yes.
Wonderful.
All right. 3 seconds left. 2, 1. I need somebody to hold the bell for me, literally, like right next to me. And our final Saved by the Bell, topic number 5. From Queerty, family drama, Ryan Felipe opens up about how going gay for pay early in his career nearly tore his family apart.
Well,
But don't do it
Don't
with your
care.
what was his
family.
price?
See,
Mm,
that's
I
the
like
price
in
you pay
there.
for going to
How
an industry
much?
like that. Like, if you decide to go and parade your genitalia on like camera, like you have to be prepared for the consequences. That's shit.
But
Or,
that-
sorry,
that-
that's on there permanently.
that's not what happened. What-
That's not what
what
happened. He was an
happened.
actor.
That's not what happened. He was the first gay
Yes.
teen
Like on daytime.
On
on
daytime
daytime
TV.
television.
Yeah, on daytime
And
television.
so it was back in like 92 or something. And so he got a lot of
Mhm.
hate mail and a lot of hate in general.
But
And
you
it
were
goes
breaking
back to what you-
barriers.
It goes
You
back
were
to what
Totally
you all
absurd.
said
John, you were
about
baby
families.
back then.
But it goes back to what you all said about families and how families can put you out there. Like, can you imagine? All he was doing a job. He was
Exactly.
acting. He was doing a job, and his parents treated him that way, or the fans treated him that way by doing a job. It goes back to stop. I'm doing a job. I'm playing a role. Why is it such a big deal? Period. Whether or not he was playing a role or not. But why is it such a big deal? Again, stop.
It
So
goes
do you-
back to how many closeted homos are out there
So do you guys
hating
think,
away.
do you
Yeah,
guys
really.
think that
Would that
this
make him
story
gay?
is relevant
Why do you
now?
He
think
was
he's
actually
hot?
sleeping with. Yeah, of course he's that. But wouldn't
mean,
that make
is
him
that
gay
why
since
you're
he's
mad?
doing activities with a guy,
No,
even if
no.
it was pay?
Hell no.
No, because he's not actually doing it. He's playing a part
No.
in a show.
So
He's
that-
doing
And,
a
and,
job.
and
Oh, I
this,
thought
is-
he was-
this goes to the point of should straight guys play gay guys, and that
Right,
whole
that's-
discussion follows around how we move as a culture. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, for a straight guy to play a gay guy was a really big deal, but it was also groundbreaking. Today, different. So
yeah.
That is.
So thanks to Ryan for going through that for us.
yes.
Because for those who
You broke-
remember,
broke the mold.
Cruel Intentions was not necessarily, gay, but it was like a very sexualized role.
Oh,
What
it
about
was
Queer as
gay.
Folk?
I-
Queer as Folk. Brian Kinney was not that character was not a gay man in real life.
What
What's
about
his name?
54?
Gale. He was not a gay man in real life, and he was
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous, straight guy. He played a gay man for nearly 10 years. It was
People
a
had to break the
groundbreaking
barriers.
role.
Yeah, people had
Oh
to
my
break
God,
the
I will
barriers.
never forget him.
All righty, so that takes us through Saved by the Bell. Great job, everyone. That was our first time doing it, so I think we did a pretty good job. Now we're going to have our final topic of the night. We're going to try to do it super quick so we can get you guys to the bar or to your bar inside your house and fill yourself up with a cocktail. So, Ty, you ready for our final topic of the night?
All right, let me just tell you, kids, you might be surprised to learn this. I can field dress an animal, plant and harvest a vegetable garden, change a tire, change my oil, start a fire without a match, and generally survive in the wilderness. I grew up in small town central Pennsylvania, and this may be a broad stereotype, but I'm guessing that most urban gays wouldn't know how to survive a dystopian future. How do I get my iced latte when there's no one to serve it? I know someone who's afraid of every insect he sees. So what does the LGBTQ community do in a post-apocalyptic world? What can you contribute? What do you need to learn? And what is self-sufficiency? Will it be us or the cockroaches?
Well, number one, congratulations for being so butch.
I never would have guessed it.
Number two, what are the percentage chances of a dystopian future? Much more likely we need our iced lattes.
And what are
Totally true.
what are you
John, I
drawing?
never
Totally
expected that
true.
from you.
I
That was
totally
great.
agree.
What are you dressing that animal as? Serious questions here.
So, Rassaroni, how would you survive in a post-apocalyptic LGBTQ world? Picture you're on American Horror Story Apocalypse. Would you be able to survive?
Yes, I have a great deal of experience gardening in South Florida, so I'd have to stay in the area. The only problem is my current development; it doesn't really have a lot of land area. So it's not funny; it's real. I can garden, I swear. I took college level horticulture in high school, and I was a volunteer for 3 years at a community garden. But yes, that I can do, providing that there is space available to garden.
But by the way, you don't have to do the gardening or do all that stuff. All you have to do is provide a service to those who do. So I think I can come up with a service I could provide for you, Ty, where you'd make sure I stayed fed. Okay.
Oh my!
I mean, John, that sounds really great, but the point is that in terms of commodity, the exchange rate is way different.
I get you.
The point is, we're gatherers and you're
I get
hunters.
ya.
You and Ty are hunters, and me and Rassaroni are gatherers and cookers.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
growing up in the
Yeah.
Philippines, I was already basically living in the old times, because we used to take a dump in the forest and we would use the leaves as toilet paper.
Yes,
I don't know how the LGBTQ community now would like that. They'll probably be like, yeah,
But that's the easiest part. Like,
Whatever.
defecation
LGBTQ
is
is
very
Andy.
easy.
people.
Andy, what would you
Yeah.
be able to contribute in a post-apocalyptic world? What skill would you bring?
I could probably bring protection,
throat
hunting,
therapy
and
is not
starting
enough.
fire, deep throating, maybe
Exactly.
eating someone.
Exactly my
you know, I'm
point.
kind of just.
This
And
is
thing
I
is-
don't want to
and
we're
thing is-
being very silly about this, which I understand why, but it does
But
speak
I
to a
think-
deeper conversation, which is, and it goes back to the conversation on education, which is who's teaching people how to balance checkbooks? Who's teaching people how to do whatever? Meat does not come from Publix. It
Yeah,
comes
I
from an
feel like-
actual
Yeah,
animal.
but if
Right.
we don't
I-
need it, why would you learn it? We don't need to know how to dress an animal.
Right.
And if we have
Well,
software that balances our checkbook for us, we don't need to learn how to do that. Why would we do that?
Will
Why
that
do we need
exist
to regress
forever?
back?
Will
I
that
don't
exist
know.
forever?
What are the chances of a dystopian future? Am I
So
going to
let's-
learn all these things and never use them?
We're gonna
Well,
come
Margaret
and take your
Atwood would tell you
computer
that it's very
away.
high.
Like, come on.
So let's bring in
I
our
mean-
guest host,
So-
Dylan. Let's have you chime in on
Come
how
on,
would
Dylan.
how would you survive in the
Help me
apocalypse?
out.
And what would you bring to the table?
I mean, everyone has their own skill set when it comes to certain things. I mean, me myself, like I've always been like very mechanical, so like I've been able to create things like whether it's like simple household like utensils or something more extravagant, like I've been able to build like a shed and stuff. So I mean, for myself, like if I had to contribute something to a post-apocalyptic scenario, I would be probably like not an engineer, but like someone like an architect, I would assume. Just
Right.
because I'm very good with my hands, and I know how to create certain things that, based on like science, will be helpful to actually have in that kind of environment.
Brian,
'cause I feel like-
what would you do?
So I'd die because I really have no skills.
Totally.
Oh, wait.
Brian, we got you. We got
You
you
can
covered.
gather. You
I
can
mean,
gather.
I would
Come on,
even-
I would keep you around for fun.
If Dylan could
Oh,
build, if
see how-
Dylan
see
could
how
build
you
a
are.
structure, you can rent it out.
So yeah, right. But I mean, okay. So I'm actually one of those people who, just for fun, I'll be driving around and I'd be like, that'd be a really cool zombie shelter. Like I could go live there and be safe. But I wouldn't be able to build one. I don't cook. I don't hunt. I guess I would gather. I could be a
Open a
scavenger.
gay bar.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you know law, and law is going to be necessary in a dystopian future. You're going to have
no,
to
there
build
is no
society.
law in a dystopian.
I will
future.
totally,
Someone's
I will
gotta create
totally
it.
tell people what to do. I can do that all day long. So
Exactly.
that's, you know,
Amber.
Okay, you a bottom, you a top.
I know Amber will do more than just collect berries. Amber, what are you going to bring to that?
She'll just slap everyone with her big dick.
I would cook the food. I would slap everyone with my big dick too, but I would make the food. And if you didn't eat it, I would slap you with my big dick.
So what do you think, Amber, the community honestly would need to do now? If we know it's coming, let's say hypothetically, what would the community actually need to do to prepare?
Probably not hoard food, probably not be dependent on meat, I would say. That's not extremely sustainable in an apocalypse type of scenario. I would say that probably having good communication among people and a piece of land would be the biggest part. Like a commune. John
Elimination.
Holt.
What you bring into the apocalyptic world. And it is not a party at the Eagle.
Oh, absolutely not. So I have hunted, I have skinned deer, I have skinned rabbit, I have fished, I've gutted a fish and fried a fish and all those things, and I have been able to learn the skill of farming. So I would definitely can do that. And to Ty's point, how can we prepare? It's a matter of exposing our children to where does meat come from, where does those things happen, where does their vegetables come from, not just here in Publix, and showing them what a garden looks like, showing them what tilling the land looks like, and then exposing to whether the future apocalyptic is coming or not. Who's to say that when that young person gets to a certain age, they want to move off the city and go into that country and live off the land? And until we provide them that opportunity, that is there for them, they will never know that it exists.
Right. Randy, where else can you get meat in West Hollywood besides at the Abbey? How do we survive the apocalypse?
Grinder. And have you guys
There's no Wi-Fi in the apocalyptic future.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
There's no Wi-Fi in the future, so no grinder.
Well, you cruise around, you walk around to see who's checking you out, and if and if someone says, "Hey," like, "Oh, he's gay, let's go."
Good talk, Randy. Good talk.
Fantastic.
So Ty, I don't know if I should be worried about American Horror Story Gay Apocalypse Season 2. I knew there was going to be humor with this topic, but I think on the serious note, it's about coming back to education. If things were to go awry, obviously we saw with hurricanes, we saw with social distancing, toilet paper was the first thing to go, and everyone was like, why is toilet paper the first thing to go? And I was reading a bunch of studies. They said because it's that thing that people recognize what the item is, and it provides comfort and safety, saying, as long as I have toilet paper at home, I feel clean, I feel safe, I feel good, or whatever. Which it was like a couple studies that as the reason why toilet paper was.
We never had toilet paper in the Philippines.
And the trees are
I grew up with no toilet paper.
Most of the world doesn't use toilet paper the same way we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not a bidet. Catch on to the bidet, especially us out here in the gay community. Guys, with the oral fixation we have, use a bidet for your partner, for yourself, for your family, your friends, whoever.
If I'm gonna sum this up, I'm gonna tell you that Amber and Elimination are coming with me to the dystopian future.
Woo!
I'm there. Let's go.
Good luck cooking without a garden.
This is Survivor. Okay,
we don't need a garden fairy. We will have a garden though.
We definitely will.
I'll be fair, Ty. You get 3 people to bring to the future with you. Who do you bring and why? So,
well, Amber eliminate. Well, I said Amber and Elimination. I don't. But who else is there?
Ooh, baby, that's right, honey.
Sorry, that was out loud. That was out loud. I'll bring Ross because he can grow food in Florida, which I haven't figured out yet. Like I can grow food in the Northeast, but I haven't figured out Florida.
Now, I mean, I feel like you don't want. No, it's fine.
Yeah, too late.
He can grow a turnip.
But I can see Elimination in me like going out and like fishing for a day, or like finding some rabbits to bring home or whatever.
With whips.
And you want to come home to me, of course, and I'm going to cook it for you.
Amen.
I know where to find some
You guys are so cute.
You're going to like make it all good.
Honey, yeah. And you already know, honey. He already knows instinctively. We might be gay, but our instincts still work, America.
You are my best lesbian.
So just to wrap up, so I
Of
think
course I am, sweetie. I have to
summary,
take this.
the summary is he's going to have Rossaroni grow the carrot. He's going to use that carrot to get the rabbit so elimination can kill the rabbit. Then he's going to drag the rabbit back home so Ember could season it up real nice and make Ty forget that he's eating rabbit dinner.
It's all in the brine. It's all in the brine.
All right, I got it right. Woo! That was a ride. That was a ride. All right. So we have come to the conclusion of our show. So we're going to show the poll. Who thinks what won? What do you guys think the winner was?
Vodka.
It was vodka, but it should be gin.
Champagne.
Should have been weed.
Okay.
We're pretty confident it's fermented potato
We
water.
accept that. Okay.
All right. So the winner of our Gay Town poll is
Oh yeah. Vodka by
vodka.
Potato
Rum
water.
number 2, yeah.
Queen.
Look at champagne.
Already
It's up
on
there.
it.
I'm
Rum
pleased
number
with
2.
champagne.
Where's
Alcohol-free
tequila on there?
You
wine.
guys really are out there drinking rum? Really?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
become the spirit of
Love
pride?
rum.
I don't believe that the wine number is right.
Not my first choice.
So how did vodka become the spirit of pride? A study showed that roughly about 45% of gays and 44% of lesbians stated that they drink vodka. Well, there is more to drink out there than just vodka. So our Gay Town poll today was, what is your favorite alcohol of choice? It was a close run, but vodka won 26.3%, followed by a tie with rum and champagne and sparkling wines for 15.8%. Nobody chose wine, so...
Ew. This wine
Because
is
it's low
no.
calorie.
Wine is boring.
Carb. It's all carb based.
Yeah.
All right, so America, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us here. Real quick, we're going to give all of our hosts, allow you to wish you a good night. And of course, ladies first, let's start with Amber. Let's wish good night to America.
Bye, Dr. Ty Hauser, and goodbye, good night, America. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments tonight. They were extremely entertaining.
All right, and let's see, who do we want next? Rossaroni.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Good night. Good night. That's all I got. I got nothing.
All right, Randy.
Good night, America. Make sure you spread love, not hate.
Or STDs.
Your legs.
Spread your legs, yeah.
John Hall.
Yeah.
Good show, Ty. I like the topics. Good night, America.
All right, elimination.
Good night, America. Thank you, Dr. Ty, for those wonderful topics. Thank you, colleagues, for a great show. America, we appreciate you watching. Tune in every Thursday.
And back in the house, Brian.
Good night, everyone. Remember what RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Amen, girl.
You see, I didn't have to do the plug-in. Brian did it for me. And
Not that long.
can we give a virtual round of applause for our special guest host tonight, Dylan?
Yay,
you.
Dylan.
Dylan.
Thank you, everyone, for participating and making me feel at home.
Daddy.
I hope everyone has a great night, stays safe, and thanks for everyone who chimed in, including people who commented. Thank you so much.
And last but not least, how many drinks are you in?
8.
We don't count. We don't
We
do
don't-
that counting thing
I don't-
around here.
I'm going to
America-
say 1.75 liters.
Gay Town Hall will drive you to drink heavily.
America, let's give a huge round of applause for Dr. Ty Hauser taking us.
I would like to thank
Good
I would like to
time.
thank Brian and Dylan for being such champs and standing up and like having a good night tonight. I love my fellow gay town hall people. You were great tonight. I hope I didn't disappoint you. And
You did
I look
good.
forward to seeing you all next week, or no, 2 weeks from now, I suppose. When
2 weeks. Next week is Thanksgiving, so we're gonna be
Yeah.
off the air. But look,
I'll be eating
Oh, bye,
chicken.
guys.
Me too.
look for us
Chicken.
for the
I
first
think I know what you mean, Ty.
First week of December
Oh, I
3rd
think
is
I
going to be our
know.
next episode. It's our 20th
Disgusting.
anniversary, 20th episode. Taisha Banks, Best, is going to be hosting.
Yes.
So first hour educated the children. She brought them to school. Ty Hauser gave them their education. Now it's time to go to recess. We're going to go outside with Taisha. We're going to raise the roof. And our special guest, hopefully,
Please don't do that.
next week, Juan Hidalgo, who did our video question tonight. Thank you so much. He will hopefully potentially
Thank you,
be
Juan.
our guest for next week. And make sure you give to Give Miami Day for suicide prevention that was mentioned. The Global Shapers Miami, which was Juan's organization, and just support giving back to the community. So thank you, America, and have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Peace out, bitches.
Bye, kids. Taking this out of my hair.
Where's the 10X?